Let's call that right now.
Item number 2 is a report from the City Administrative Officer relative to a lease agreement with the Emek Hebrew Academy relative to parcels located in the Sepulveda Flood Control Basin.
Good afternoon, Veronica Salumbidas with the Office of the CAO. The term of the proposed lease agreement is 30 years, beginning September 1st, 2008 through August 31st, 2038. At its meeting of August 1st, 2008, the Council adopted a motion instructing the Department to negotiate the lease with Emek Hebrew Academy, and the item before you is the proposed lease agreement.
Anybody here from the council office? Council office supports this, item number 2.
Just,
Yes, hi.
Hi, how you doing? Joel Alvarez, Rec and Parks.
Hi.
Here for the Emek Hebrew Academy lease. It's a 30-year lease for Emek Hebrew Academy, which runs the school that's adjacent to within the Sepulveda Basin recreation area. And they've been there operating for some time. This is a renewal of their existing operation.
Great, and that's already existing, and this is no different than we have with other schools, an agreement of joint use. They're not building anything on parkland?
All improvements are already developed.
Correct, and the council office supports it.
Yes.
Good, let's move it forward. Okay, next item. Oh, before you do that, Dr. Clyde Williams. You wanted to speak on this item, Mr. Williams?
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Los Angeles. My concern regarding this is that this is a very lengthy and extensive lease agreement. The Board of Recreation and Parks and the Department of Recreation and Parks has not complied with the terms and conditions of the lease agreement with the Autry National Center, and that they have not required the submission of documents. One of the questions...
I don't think this has to do with the Autry National Center.
One of the...
And have you seen the file at all? Have you seen the
Yes,
file
I-
of item
yes.
number 2?
Yes, number 2.
You have read it.
And one of the questions is whether the Recreation and Parks Department has any record of the compliance of the applicant regarding these terms and conditions in their lease agreement. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, any other comment on this item? We're going to move forward, unless you have any corrections for the department staff? We're good?
We're good.
We're good. Move forward to full council. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 3 is a report from the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families relative to revising the Los Angeles Administrative Code to adopt rules and regulations for the Los Angeles Youth Council.
How are you? All right.
Good morning.
Hi.
Afternoon. Jamiko Bell from the Commission for Children, Youth, and Families. We're requesting today an administrative code change for the Los Angeles Youth Council. Last year, the Youth Council itself went through a very extensive process to create a set of bylaws which have now been called rules and regulations to sort of alter some of the processes for its governance. There are the main items that we are requesting changes to the ad code for are the age limit. We'd like to extend it from 13 to 19. The previous statement just said under the age of 19. We also like to establish a 1-year term for the youth commissioner. The youth decided that they wanted that seat to be part of their sort of like an internship process for city government. And the current 2-year term for youth commissioners is really very long and doesn't allow for a lot of the younger youth to be able to transition into that position before they age out of the council. The youth council would also like to be able to submit to the mayor's office a slate of nominated young people for the youth commissioner seat, as opposed to having it be an appointment from the mayor like all the other commission seats in the city. And also, most importantly, we'd like for the Commission for Children, Youth, and Families to be able to adopt and or make changes to the rules and regulations that were created to govern.
Presently, right now, does the council person select the youth member?
We have the option of the council selecting, appointing a youth member to the youth council itself. We've also instituted a new process that allows for the establishment of grassroots chapters and allows the young people to also elect regional representation.
Okay, since I was on the youth council once I was a youth, I'd like to continue this and have you set up a meeting in the office with whoever your commissioner is, or acting director, or yourself, and go over this, because I feel it's a very important role, and I want to make sure it's successful and not caught up with the rules of governance as opposed to the rules of spontaneity, that the walls and the doors of City Hall are open to everyone, and youth can come in and express themselves and try to make change.
Absolutely.
So we're going to continue this. There's no urgent need on this right now, is there?
Well, we'd like to, just June, because we're going to have our annual meeting and June elections, and we'd like to be able to elect the new board under the revised.
What does that happen? Does that mess them up?
Well, it's going to take a little time for everything to get approved.
You have to do an
because
ordinance on this at all? That's
We've already drafted all the documents that are
Right.
necessary, but we need to get approval here so that we can go back before the commission and get their final approval, because I think we have.
We can set up that meeting next week if
But I
that's
mean, if it
amenable.
makes sense, and I need the city attorney's advice, to schedule this maybe next week, but you get a meeting with me before it goes to
Yes.
council, because if we go to council, I may send it back to committee. If there's not, then they give you the option to go forward.
We'll do that.
Okay, do that. So, Madam Clerk, we'll approve this, send it forward to council, but don't schedule it until the end of next week,
Okay.
end of next week. And then we'll go from there. And then you please call Dorothy Perez at 1-800 Perez, the best executive secretary in City Hall, and she'll set up a meeting.
Yes,
She's
sir.
retiring after 40 years, but she's there still.
Anytime.
Thank you. So, we'll send this forward to council. That was number 3. Number 4, we're going to continue. Is that correct?
I believe the department has requested that, yes.
Yeah, the Department of Recreation and Park has requested that?
No, Commission for
Children and
Children, Youth,
Family.
and their families.
Good. And let's take number 5, because we want to get that librarian back to the busiest place on earth, the Los Angeles Public Library System. Chris, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Okay.
And for the record, item number 5 is a motion from Laban Chan Parks relative to directing the Library Department to report regarding the viability of a Los Angeles Public Library Book Club.
Chris Morita, interim city librarian, and I have with me Peter Persick, director of marketing and public relations. The library gold card idea is another demonstration of the tremendous support.
Excuse me, may I interrupt you, Madam Librarian?
Sure.
Please welcome the great Janice Hahn of the 15th District for the City of Los Angeles. Ms. Hahn, thank you. I want to send you back to the attendance office. You're late for committee. I need a note.
I was not watching the time.
Oh, I know, because you're always so busy. I know, that's so good, that's good. But this is perky. We did some administrative work.
Good.
Now we're getting this very important item that you have near dear to your heart,
Yes,
the Library Department.
Yes.
Ms. Marita, please.
yes.
Mr. Persick is there as well, the top lieutenant at the Library
We
Department.
do one, did you do one?
No.
Okay, good. What item are you on?
Just for the record, Madam Clerk, sorry, Chris, inform Ms. Hahn where we are on everything. 1, we're holding. 2,
One we're holding.
Was recommended for approval,
right.
Okay.
and items number 3 and 4 were continued.
Oh,
3 was.
I'm sorry, 3 was approved.
Approved.
To be sent forward to council
But I
in
hold
a
the
couple of
opportunity to
weeks.
maybe pull it back if I don't like it when it gets there.
and why did you continue for?
For the request of the Children, Youth, and Family.
Oh, okay.
And now we're on number 5.
Oh,
Our great city librarian is here.
The library gold card idea is another demonstration of the tremendous support that you and the other council members have given the library. And without your strong support, we couldn't have built 64 libraries in 17 years. So after working with your staffs to refine the gold card idea, we submitted it to the Board of Library Commissioners for approval.
yes.
However, the commission did not approve the concept on the basis that it would be too confusing for the patrons to have 2 separate library cards, and they thought a gold card gave the perception of preferential treatment to donors, that it would appear that the library is offering a 2-tiered service with special benefits extended only to donors. So again, the library's
When was it-
philosophy
when
is
was it-
to provide equitable service to everyone. However, we explored several alternative funding options, keeping in mind the intent of the gold card concept and the concerns of the commission. So we have come up with an alternate idea, a Bucks for Books pilot program. At all 72 libraries.
Well, it
we
sounds
have-
better if it's Bucks for Books by Han.
No, I don't like it so far.
I got
Go
it,
ahead.
okay.
At all 72 libraries, we would have countertop displays advertising the program and a supply of pre-printed donation envelopes. People can make a donation in any amount, place it in an envelope, and mail it in. And the funds would be deposited in a special account to buy more books. In recognition of the gifts, the donor names would be added to a virtual donor wall on the library's website. Another thing that we're doing is changing our website to encourage donations. We are adding a prominent Support the Library graphic on the homepage, and when you click on it, it directs you to the page that lists all the opportunities to support the library. A person can join a Friends group, give to the Library Foundation, or donate to the Bucks for Books program. The advantage of Bucks for Books is that it's low cost to implement, process, and maintain, and there's no cost for any thank you incentives, which means more money goes directly to purchasing books. It's simple for the patrons to use, simple for the staff to administer, and it encourages donations of any amount. So, and this program avoids any perception of preferential treatment. So we believe this program, together with the increased visibility of support on our website, would meet the goals of council and the goals of our commission. So we're going to bring forward that proposal to our commission meeting next week.
Great. I can understand the commission's thoughts, because I think the library is really the seat of democracy in any public building on that issue there. I just know, though, in this day and age, we got to look for other ways. You know, public schools got to have public support, or they're not going to make it. Public libraries got to have public support, or the next era, they won't make it as well as they would without joining hands. And I just know myself that I use these cards, not that, and I am not an elitist in any way to just try to, you know, participate in whatever the cards are, whether it's a card for that. So Ms. Perry is joining. Please welcome the councilwoman of the 9th District, the home of the Central Library for the City of Los Angeles, Jan Perry. Thank you, Ms. Perry. So I'm going to ask Ms. Perry to say a few things after she gets briefed, but I'm going to call on Ms. Hahn to say a few things, because I think we really see an opportunity, but I see your Bucks for Books, that kind of has a kick to it, but I know Ms. Hahn did a lot of work on this, and
Right.
please, Ms. Hahn.
Yes, and I apologize, I didn't realize that it was already at commission. When did it go to commission?
About a month ago.
Did you notify my office when it was before commission?
I thought the board office did, but I'll have to double check.
Yeah, that's disappointing, because I think I might have even gone. And I was so excited about this design of the gold card. I'm going to tell you, with all due respect, times are changing. And I want to treat everybody equally, and here's how we're treating everybody equally. We're cutting library hours, we're cutting staff, we're cutting libraries equally. That's how we're treating everybody equally. Well, I don't like that solution. And, you know, I fought during the Charter Reform Commission, I fought for libraries. I've always been a big supporter of library. And it's disappointing to me that we can't get out of this misconception that somehow giving people an opportunity to be a gold card member is in any way, you know, sending an elitist message or saying that we're not treating everybody equally. I just think that is so backwards and so, you know, just so not thinking out of the box. This was an opportunity, I think, for people to say, this is pretty cool. I'd be willing to pay extra money to help the libraries. And it gave some, this is a cute, adorable gold card with a little pink on it. I mean, I just think it gives people an opportunity to, you know, do something extra. And I don't think in any way the public would perceive them being treated any differently, you know, when they're inside a library. So it's really disappointing to me that everybody has this same old, tired mentality when we're cutting library hours, we're cutting staff. It's a terrible time, and I was trying to avoid that. And everything you just mentioned is nice and well and good, but we have that right now. Anybody can make a donation, anybody can join the Friends, and we're not to the level of having the kind of infusion of new dollars that I wanted to see in the library. So I think it's a missed opportunity, and I don't know what everybody was so afraid of. So it's disappointing to me. It's disappointing to me. And we can only try so hard, but, you know, you got to meet me halfway, and Bucks for Books is not meeting me halfway.
Can I just ask a question? Could we go back to commission on this and have a discussion with them? Because here's the thing. Now, I love the Library Foundation, but I think sometimes that would be termed by some as more of an elitist, and they're by no means elitist. They're people who care about public libraries. There's a perception, and I know my, personally in my family, we've had a struggle in our public school to get public support, which we've gotten, and we've come up with this whole concept about public needs to support public institutions. We can't just rely on the general fund of the city. It's some way, somehow created.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call on Ms. Perry next, but I'm inclined as chairman is just to hold this and then schedule it on the committee or through the Library Commission in the proper time, whatever it is, and then try to come back with an idea that could create revenue
Right.
to help you do your mission. Ms. Perry.
Thanks, Mr. Chairperson. You know, I represent an area that has Vermont Square Library, and for years, the library department has wanted to deactivate that library. It's a historic building, and, you know, I've actually fought it for years, and now I'm thinking maybe I should embrace it as an opportunity and move in some other direction, like an intergenerational community library center, with active senior programming in there, if I can figure out a way to do it without having to draw on any city funds, but to you know, maybe combine some social service organizations that are already there, and then figure out a way to you know, pay for the utilities to enable them to come into the excuse me, to enable them to come into the structure. And I say that to you to say that in these neighborhood libraries, every neighborhood is different and unique, but perhaps there are opportunities that the commission hasn't considered where you can combine existing social service providers in an area, and those who have an interest in reading and books and the perpetuation of knowledge, or perhaps after school, and marry that or merge that into the community that is created by the existence of this building in a neighborhood, and maybe that can be something that takes you towards more of an out-of-the-box thinking in a way that programs beyond what we already have, but to bring in existing resources. And, for example, this building is underutilized now because the library has kind of pushed away from it, and I'm trying to figure out other ways to use it, but it's still there. It is still a library, and it is still an active structure with minimal programming, but the books are still there, furniture is still there, so it's obviously an asset within a community. So I guess I'm suggesting that maybe you can take a look and maybe pick a pilot project, maybe in R3 districts or something like that, pick libraries that are underutilized, and then try to work with us, and the commission work with us to develop some programming. For me, I'm going to focus on intergenerational programming as it's focused around the library, and it may be something different for Ms. Hahn or different for Mr. Labange, but maybe that's a place for you to start.
Well, we'd be happy to work with your staff, and we'd be happy to continue this item. It will go back to the commission.
Every time people have cocktail parties or VIP parties to raise money for libraries or theaters, I mean, there's always people who are willing to, you know, pay extra money to help out a cause. But I don't think the public feels that they're treated any differently when it comes to the actual delivery of services.
But like, let's say NPR, we support NPR.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little donation to help
Right.
that. You know, just a way to ask the public, you know, you could support extra. I know Bucks for Books, but maybe out of this comes, because this all came at the real grassroots level in this committee room
Right.
as an idea that was born there. So we'll go back to committee, what Ms. Perry said, maybe it looks up things. And for the record, I want to thank you for the great job that you have done as the intern director of the Los Angeles Public Library System, Chris. You've really done a wonderful job. So we'll figure this thing out.
Right.
And
we got a bad budget. We got cuts that are coming. We may have to make more cuts. It just doesn't feel like
No, we totally
we're
understand.
willing to do something that's fun, that's innovative, that's 21st century. Everybody has a gold card. Starbucks has a gold card. You know, well, when I walk in, the guy in front of me may have a gold card and I don't, but, you know, maybe he gets one extra perk, but it certainly doesn't, he's not treated any differently.
But
They say, hello, Janice, every time I walk in, whether or not I have a gold card or not. I mean, I think it's about how we deliver the services versus letting people think that somehow they're treated differently, or the general public's going to feel slighted. I think the general public is going to be happy because we've thought of a way to infuse more dollars into our great library system in the city of Los Angeles. We've allowed people to give a little bit more in a fun, creative way.
So we'll figure a way to try to come back. I understand our passions, I think, all the way around, Ms. Perry, Ms. Hahn.
Yeah.
But I understand, I can see the commissioners feeling that way. But also, I think we in the public have to learn how to create the opportunity for the public to participate more if they know the dollars are going directly to services for seniors, for children, for youth and their families, or whatever it may be. So what we're going to do, we're going to continue this 30 days, and then I'll coordinate and let you both know if you want to make an independent visit to the commission on the day that we can get it scheduled on a discussion item. Okay. Other things too, does Ms. Perry or Ms. Hahn or myself have any overdue books?
We've worked so hard on it.
No overdue books. Okay, good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Peter. Okay, Madam Clerk, we are down to how many more items?
We're back to item number 1.
Item number 1. Are we ready for item number 1? All right, call item number 1,
Yeah,
please.
the pools.
Item number 1 is a verbal report from the Department of Recreation and Parks relative to the status of pools for the summer of 2009.
Run the meeting there, Miss.
Good afternoon, Mike Shaw with Recreation and Parks. I'm joined by Lydia Ritzman from our operations side. First of all, I wanted to talk about the current infrastructure condition of our pools. We have 62 pools in our inventory now, 9 of those being with joint use with Los Angeles Unified. The more important number for us in the upcoming pool season is that we have 38 seasonal pools, so we only operate mainly, 8 to 10 weeks out of the year. So we've been in preparation to open those pools for the coming season. Of those pools, the ones that will not open due to infrastructure failure is Echo Park Shallow, Van Ness Recreation Center, Reseda Pool, Downey Pool, Gaffey Street Pool, and Fremont Pool. However, I would say that on the list I just mentioned to you, Downey is getting ready to start construction for replacement of that pool, so hopefully we'll be open for next summer.
Would you read that list again?
It is, the city pools that will not open are Echo Park Shallow, Van Ness Recreation Center Pool, Reseda Recreation Center Pool, Downey, Gaffey, and Fremont. Gaffey is the pool at Angels Gate, the old,
The Gaffey Street pool?
the very old.
And what about it?
It-
What is this list?
This is just a list of our closed city
Oh,
pools.
our closed city pools.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So although it hasn't been
I was
open,
getting excited. I was thinking maybe this was a list, you were looking to improve them and reopen them.
well, Gaffey is on our list to improve.
Been there like for...
So is this list permanently closed or closed and they're going to reopen at some point?
We hope that they'll all reopen at some point, in particular, Councilwoman Fremont Pool, which is in your district, that's currently under construction right now as we speak, and will reopen in time for the school season. One of the biggest challenges we've had this year with our seasonal pools has been with a new law, which is called the Virginia Graham Baker's Pool and Spa Safety Act, and that's a federal law that was passed that required us to, it's basically an anti-entrapment drain issue. We've never had any safety issues with our drains, but
Clearly.
there isn't a pool in the nation or a spa that didn't get lumped into this new federal law. Basically, every state is going through the process of making sure that we're all up to current code. So we've spent a tremendous amount of effort and time to make sure that all of our drains are replaced and be permitted through the county health department to make sure that they're in compliance with this new act. It's been very, very challenging, but I'm pleased to report that we believe that we will have all of them retrofitted in time for the pool season. we had to basically had to pull a permit for each of those pools. In some cases, it cost as much as $30,000 to repair those drains. So we're in good shape as far as that goes. So other than the pools that everybody is aware that are going to be closing, we do anticipate all the pools opening, with the exception of the ones that I mentioned.
So does that include South Park?
Yes.
Okay, and then Green Meadows,
Yes.
Ross Snyder?
Yes.
Okay, now, a question I asked Mr. Mariscal last committee meeting, because I walk around the parks and I make lists of what's wrong, and I give them to Mr. Muckery, and, the pool at South Park is covered with graffiti, and Mr. Mariscal said at the last meeting they were waiting for some special paint, and I offered my South Los Angeles beautification team as able and willing to paint the graffiti out, and we have not been notified yet that the paint has arrived, and I have suggested, or I've said that actually the longer you leave it there, the more it conveys to the public that it's okay to come in here and graffiti the pool. There's a big hole in the fence there, which is how they got in there in the first place, and I sent that in an email to Mr. Muckery, but I still don't have an answer as to when the paint's going to arrive. And your last meeting, was it last week or the week before?
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago? So, does anybody know when the paint's going to arrive for the pool at South Park so we can get this done?
Well, I can tell you this, the last weekend, that pool we were in there renovating the drain system in that pool. And then probably the reason why it wasn't painted, at least this is the first I'm hearing about it, but the people that do that work now reports to me in the department, and that the drain system in those pools, we actually have to go in and cut the bottom out of the pool, literally cut down to the soil and remove these old drains. So we wouldn't have wanted to do any repainting until that work was done, because it's a royal mess in the
Okay, well,
bottom.
when he was here 2 weeks ago, he didn't mention that, so.
He probably was not aware of
Okay,
it.
I want to get an answer that reconciles that and to find out when the graffiti is going to be painted out. In addition, I was at South Park several weeks ago where there was water gushing out of the sidewalk, and I actually called the Department of Water and Power, and it had been going on for several days. Pooling, running alongside the universal access playground, and apparently there was some kind of a pipe broken either under the sidewalk or the clubhouse, and I waited until the Department of Water and Power got there, and they did their assessment, and their assessment is that it had to be handled by a plumber from the Department of Recreation and Parks. So I still don't know whether the water was stopped from running, bubbling up from underneath the sidewalk, and this was at 51st and Avalon at South Park.
Right. Oh, that was at South Park, not Russ Snyder.
Yeah, also. So, I want to know when the paint's coming. I want to know when so we can get this pool painted and no fence fixed. And this stuff has nothing to do with budget cuts. So please, when you go back, I really don't want to hear it, as I've said this publicly now 3 times. There's a little sidewalk over there that was broken 3 years ago. I fell on it, had to be taken out of there by ambulance to a hospital. And when I was there 2 weeks ago, it still wasn't fixed. So, and everybody knows about it. So I'm just saying it has nothing to do with the budget cuts or lack of staff. It's a lack of focus, and the fact that the water could be running down the sidewalk for several days and it wasn't resolved, or, there's a big old hole in the fence over there at the pool. That's how people got into graffiti in the first place. Again, nothing to do with budget cuts. I mean, if I was strong enough, I probably could have pulled the chain link back myself and then at least put some wire around it to hold it shut so they couldn't come back in. But these are the things that get me really angry.
I will personally respond to you on those issues, and I just, in response to some of them, I can answer now if you'd like.
Sorry?
As far as the painting, unfortunately, we would not be able to take you up on the paint that we do use in the pools is a special paint. It's a special epoxy type paint that will only withstand the summer. Unfortunately, we have to repaint the pools every summer, not necessarily because of graffiti, of course, but mainly because if pools do not have water, the paint degrades. As long as it has water in it, the paint is fine. So every year we have to do a repainting of our seasonal pools. So having somebody come in, the paint that they would use would not be the correct paint.
No, I'm saying that they use the paint that you got. That's why I keep asking when's the paint coming? Because if it's a matter of you don't have enough staff to do it, we have the staff to do it.
It's not a matter of that. It's not a matter of the
What's it a matter
staff.
of?
It's not a matter of the staff. We will have that pool repainted.
Well, then tell me what the problem is. Because you've got a huge pool that's empty. Maybe you could put a little primer on it just to, tone it down on the graffiti. It looks horrible.
I'll
It
take
looks
care of it.
frightening.
I'll take care of it.
It's frightening. When you leave graffiti up there for weeks on end, it scares people.
That's true.
Because it means, whatever blank gang has taken over the park,
True.
and it's their park. That's what it means.
I'll personally take care of it
Okay, can you tell me when you'll take care of it?
tomorrow.
Okay, and then you'll let me know.
What's wrong with this afternoon?
I'll live with tomorrow. I'm fine with
The
that.
construction staff gets off work at 3 o'clock, so I'd like...
20 minutes.
All I'm saying is that we have a team in the district that they do graffiti removal. They're there to assist you, so you don't have to incur any additional costs or overtime or anything like that. We're there
I
to help.
understand, but
Just need the paint, that's all.
It would not, I understand, but we would not want inexperienced people, because we would have to probably end up being in there during the pool season to repaint the pool, and we don't want that to happen. We
If
have
they
to...
painted over a pipe that's a filter or something like that.
And-
Question,
Well, you could just, I don't know much about painting, but it seems to me that maybe you would put a little primer on it.
We
Just to
could.
knock the red paint out, okay? So people
We will
have
get
to-
an interim solution in there until it's
That's right.
repainted
So the
permanently.
red paint is
Right.
not blasting away and assaulting people, so that they know we better stay out of that area, because that's definitely an area that's been taken over by a gang.
I think that's right.
Agreed.
I want to call on Ms. Hahn, but I want to ask you, could you develop, because General Services provides the police services for these parks, correct?
Yes, Office of
Okay,
Public Safety.
and you ever know where you have you go into let's say the airport, into the waiting room, and behind the waiting room, if it's a men's room or women's room, they have a note when someone went by to check out that facility to make sure it's taken care of? You should develop a route for those officers, because it is a horrible sight for the public to see a pool, which usually has brighter paint, as you said, and the white to make sure that it comes through the blue of the water, whatever it is. And people feel real bad, so we gotta have that on regular maintenance. We gotta beat that problem back. Ms. Hahn has questions
Thank
on
you.
this issue.
I know, and I really appreciate Councilwoman Perry's passion about this, and you reminded me of my father, Jan, when you were talking about you personally walk around
Thank you.
these parks and take notes. That was so Kenny Hahn. That's exactly what he said. Nothing substituted for eyeballing it yourself. Just listening to you say that was that was so him. But I agree with you. We even if there's a reason for leaving the graffiti up, it's not a good message, and that's kind of everything we were talking about in the city council this morning about our new graffiti ordinance. But you're right, it scares people, and I'm on your side on this one. I'm on your side on almost everything, but let me just ask a couple questions. Now, will the city pools be open all the same hours as every other summer, or are any hours at any pool been cut due to our budget?
I could probably respond to that. Last summer, we actually cut back an hour on the weekends and an hour on the weekdays. So this
Doing the
summer,
same?
we're planning on doing the same hours that we had last
So
summer.
basically the same hours as last summer?
Basically the same
Okay.
hours.
Obviously, there's a lot of pools, as you were mentioning, that need improvement, and with this budget, are we applying for any kind of grants, stimulus money specifically for pool improvements? And how's that going?
Yeah, well, I can give you a few facts on the capital investments that we've done. And since 2006, we've invested $45 million into 10 different pools. Of those 10 pools, that's Northridge, Echo Park Deep, Lanark, Sylmar, Ritchie Valens, Roosevelt, Venice, Pan Pacific, Cleveland, and Harvard. All those pools have gone through renovation since 2006 at a
Right.
cost of roughly $45 million.
Right.
We currently have an additional 8 pools right now, either in design or construction, through grants that we've either got through
Okay.
Prop K or
Okay.
Prop 40. And those pools are Lincoln, Costello, 109th Street, in your
Yes,
district, Councilwoman,
right.
Hollywood, Reseda, Westchester, Westwood, Downey, and Fremont. So through a variety of sources.
Okay, so we are. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, I just,
And the Gaffney Street pool, is there a plan for that?
Gaffney Street Pool, actually, it's funny enough, last night I was speaking to some staff that is working possibly, I don't know all the details, but I've been told that they are one of 2 projects being considered to be funded through the Ports program. It remains to be seen whether or not.
The port?
I'm not
What
sure.
program is that?
I wasn't sure. I didn't get the detail. It was literally last night at 6 o'clock. I was getting a report from the Fort MacArthur nonprofit
Yes.
that has applied for some money for
Oh, for
refurbishment.
maybe maybe the China shipping mitigation money?
It very well may be.
Okay, okay.
I don't know for sure if we're going to get that money, but it would be certainly great if we did.
Okay, all right. Let me ask just about 109th Street pool. And I really am glad we're opening it for the summer, because I knew we were planning on keeping it closed so we could begin doing, because it's got some major
Yeah.
renovation happening. But I was obviously, dismayed, thinking we were going to keep it shut
Yeah.
during the summer, and, probably we really wouldn't get going with the renovations till the fall. So I just felt bad about that, so I appreciate the cooperation and working with me on opening it for the summer. We had issues last summer with the security. So, but, we've already put in place a community patrol like we did last summer, and hopefully there will be no incidents at that pool this summer. How's the lifeguarding at that pool? I think we intimidated a few lifeguards last summer, unfortunately, and I think a couple of them probably didn't want to come back there, which I totally understand. But are we good on lifeguards? Is everybody
I think we're-
trained and up and ready?
We actually had an increase in the number of new lifeguards that we trained this summer. And so we always try to return people back to where they worked the summer before.
Right.
And the gentleman that was the manager last summer, we're hoping to have him back there this
Oh,
last
really?
year. I don't know for sure, but
I
that's,
know.
like I
Okay.
said, we'd like to have continuity from.
Well, I mean,
one season
every
to the next.
lifeguard should know, particularly there, that, we're in complete support of them. We're backing them up. We, more than anybody, want to make sure that they're safe and there was no violence. What happened last summer was absolutely unacceptable, and I felt really bad for the lifeguards that were at that pool.
Appreciate it.
But we are on top of it in the Watts Gang Task Force. We've been talking about it all year, and it's a pool that we've sort of adopted, and even community members, I think, have agreed to go there on a regular basis this summer, just to make sure that it's safe. Let me just ask you about volunteers, and that'll be my last question. I know there's a lot of volunteers for Rec and Parks during the summer, and fingerprinting is an issue. I know, I was told a few years back, we actually allowed them to come to the San Pedro Municipal Building to get fingerprinting done. Just want to know if that's possible again, or where do volunteers go right now?
I believe Peck Park
Oh.
has I want to say Peck Park is one of the sites for the live scan machines
Even-
for Rec
okay.
and Parks for either.
Very good.
If we are hiring employees or volunteers.
Good. How are we communicating to people about the need for summer volunteers?
Well, how do we, usually people come to us, to be perfectly honest, and the need in the department mostly has been in terms of volunteers with our youth programs, through coaches and that sort of thing. So that's really where we've had a lot of, people come.
Have we had any volunteers as it relates to pools?
Not really, at least not in the life-saving portion of it, because
Yeah,
that's
maybe
kind
not
of a
life-saving, but just
specialized
kind of to
type
be
of
there,
thing.
kind of a pool mom in the afternoon, or...
I think
no.
informally, but not to my knowledge. It's been something where, they've pretty much participated more in the recreation side than they really
Okay.
have in the aquatic side. It's
Okay.
more of a specialized type of thing.
Good.
So we've
And-
had,
And my Peck Park pool, good, heater's good,
Should be good.
it's all working?
it's all working.
Okay, good. This is one of the great things that we offer our residents, is our summer pool program, and it's so positive and so great. And we appreciate all the hard work you do up until this point, getting ready for a great summer, so.
Thank you.
And the Department of Recreation and Parks will kick off pools in Los Angeles in 2009 at Jackie Tatum Pool on the 20th
The Jackie Tatum pool opening is actually the 19th, but all the
19th?
pools open June 20th.
So the
They're scheduled to
19th?
go through Labor
I thought it
Day.
was the 20th, but they moved it back
20th
to
is
the
the
19th?
Saturday.
Right.
The Jackie Tatum kickoff is the Friday before that.
What time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. All right, good. And do you know the story of the Costello pool?
Lou Costello?
Right.
Yeah.
Tell the story so everybody
Oh,
knows.
you want me to tell the
Yeah.
story? My understanding is that Lou Costello, who was part of Abbott and Costello, that he had a young son,
Right,
and that his son drowned.
right.
And so in order to make something out of a bad situation, he went ahead and he donated the money
Pool.
for the pool.
Really?
At
I did not
Costello
know that
Recreation
story.
Right,
Center.
everything,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
every day, there's a blessing of some tragedy that takes place there, just like the John Tracy Clinic.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I know that.
right.
yeah.
And
So
I would
that's the
add
Tracy.
to that we actually, during the redesign of the new pool, we met with some of the family to make sure that,
Oh.
it was,
Good.
we actually met on site, showed them the design, and got their support.
Very good. Both of you, very good. We'll have a safe summer. Every child should learn to swim. I learned to swim at Griffith Park Pool, and they said, take the fruit from the basket and fruit from the tree, put it in the basket for the side stroke. And then the breaststroke and all the way down. So very good
I learned to
lesson.
swim early. I ended up being a lifeguard, too. I was...
Okay. What pool?
I was actually during college actually, no, my first job was at the Hawthorne
Hawthorne
pool. That was where my very first job as a lifeguard, and a swimming teacher was.
Oh, that's
I
great.
actually thought I was going to grow up to be like a swimming teacher.
A coach. Yeah. Well, very good. Thank you both. We're going to move forward on this item here. Madam Clerk, do we have anything more before us other than public comment?
That completes the items, just public comment cards.
Okay, we're going to do public comment. Dr. Clyde Williams, he spoke earlier, he filled out a public comment card, he's no longer here. Then we have Robert Berger, Dean Schwartz, Ms. Lopez, is that correct? Marlene Gomez, and Janice Chow. Come on up and take a seat here.
Good meeting, huh?
Thank you. Public comment.
Good afternoon. At the April 15th meeting, this committee was addressed by the city attorney's office regarding the smoke-free outdoor dining policy. I think we were all kind of blown away by the mea culpa that was presented here. I think Councilmember Hahn said she hadn't seen anything, heard anything like that before, and the gentleman even evoked the name of Judge Hahn in terms of, his, whatever. I actually have that queued up if you wanted to review. It's about 2 minutes long. But we're here today to say we represent the advocate community, excuse me?
Ms. Taylor, proceed.
What? Oh, I'm
Someone else
sorry.
was talking.
And I think we've been, very patient with this. It's now 3 months late. The direction to staff was January 7th. It should have been back February 7th.
Right.
We're now 3 months late. Next month will be 4 months late. And after that mea culpa, I'm frankly shocked that there wasn't a draft brought back to this committee proactively, nor was the committee or the folks that have worked on this proactively informed that it wasn't coming back. It's only when we kind of said, what's going on here? So our patience it's worn out. I mean, it's like, is this important? The 86% of residents that don't smoke are looking forward to this. Over 150 cities and counties in America have smoke-free outdoor dining. This is not new. There are models surrounding communities. This is not a new, it's almost looking at the models that have been supplied to the city attorney's office and saying what are the best practices and what works here. So what gives? I mean, why aren't we talking about this? And where is the accountability? I can't imagine having done a mea culpa like that and not coming back with the draft.
All the time.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Next.
My name is
Dean.
Dean Schwartz, and I'm a constituent of District 4, Tom Labange's district. I'm a restaurant owner, and I very much support the smoke-free dining ordinance. I wholeheartedly thank the Arts Parks Health and Aging Committee for all your efforts on getting this moved forward. This weekend I had the opportunity to spend the day at the Hancock Park Elementary Carnival, and I obtained almost 100 signatures in support of your efforts. And It says, "We, the undersigned participants at the Family Fun Day at Hancock Park Elementary, thank Councilmember Tom LaBonge for his leadership in protecting our families from the exposure to toxic secondhand smoke by working on the outdoor dining patio, smoke-free. The citizens need it. They want it. The society is wholeheartedly wanted it a long time ago.
Right.
So I appreciate all the efforts.
You know,
And
just for a point of information, I understand that the ordinance has been drafted, but apparently Councilmember Smith is currently, and his staff is working with the city attorney to kind of go line by line with the ordinance. So I think that's where it is, and we've been told it will be coming back here shortly.
Thank you.
If we could hold the time for the
Yes, sir.
gentleman speaker.
Right.
And if the city attorney wants to add anything to this.
No, the only thing I would add is that Councilmember Hahn is correct. That is the current status of the draft of the ordinance, as I have been informed. But again, you need to understand that this item is not agendized for this meeting, so this public comment is simply for you to air your comments.
Right.
And
I just felt the need to make a clarification just for
but
people listening.
if the members of the committee wish, they can certainly advise
Right.
staff to calendar this for a
Right.
future date.
For a status, yeah. But that's what I've been told.
Anyway, time is of the essence, and I have this to present to you. I was actually amazed that there was many smokers, quite a few smokers who signed this. And one lady's comment was, that she says, "I want you to take away my ability." And so, thank you.
Thank you very much. You can give that to the clerk, or Mr. Zari, will you please get that? Next.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair LaBonge and members of the committee. My name is Alicia Lopez, and I'm Chair of the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Los Angeles County. I'm here today on behalf of the Coalition to voice concern about the timeliness of the draft smoke-free outdoor dining ordinance coming back to this committee. It was promised by the city attorney, as we've discussed, at the April 15th meeting that it would come back within 30 days, and the draft still hasn't surfaced. The coalition is very concerned that this issue is not being taken serious enough, and we feel that the public health benefits this policy would create are extremely important. I hope that this committee will look into the delay of the draft coming back to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gomez?
Good afternoon. My name is Marlene Gomez, and I am the Associate Director for Safe Smoke-Free Air for Everyone. And I, too, am here to echo the sentiment that we're disappointed that the draft ordinance has not been brought back, and we're hoping that it will be back hopefully by the next meeting of this commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a committee, but we'll accept the...
Promotion.
Right.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Perry, LaBonge, and Hahn. My name is Janice, and I'm here on behalf of the American Cancer Society, and I'm here regarding the ordinance as well. I'm representing our grassroots volunteers and our cancer survivors, advocating for the tobacco control policies that's going to reduce cancer incidence and improve quality of life by reducing secondhand smoke exposure. The American Cancer Society is here as a resource, just to remind you to support your efforts to improve the health of the public by moving the ordinance forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing here.
Thank you very much.
Bringing it to our attention.
Madam City Attorney, may I ask you, once I received the draft, one thing I did say in the committee was I wanted to go out to a business district where there were restaurants and walk with the city attorney, with the coalition, with whomever else that wants to walk, and say, how would it be implemented to make sure we do cover the bases? So once that's available, I want to be able to do that. So I wanted to tell them, is it okay that I told them that right there? Did I violate anything?
Sergeant of Arms.
It's not an action of the committee.
It's not an action. For your information, so we're on to it. Lisa Schechter, my staff, is on to
Would
it.
it be appropriate to get, agendize it and get a status update on?
Yes.
That's what I would like. I would like to move that we
All right, I'll accept that as chair.
agendize it and get a status
Very
update
good.
from the city attorney's office on where this is.
Very well.
I would ask that you set that 45 days out.
Ooh, I wanted to try to do it before Rocky left, because he promised me he'd join with me in this. Excuse me, I
What
did
do you
that
mean
for...
5 days out?
No, I was asking
45
for
days.
45 days out because of...
For a
I know-
status report?
No. For them to come back with the ordinance?
No, I'm asking just for a status.
Oh, for status report.
I want to know at our next
Okay,
meeting,
the
I'd
next
like for
meeting.
them to come and give us a status report on where this is, what's going on, and when
Certainly-
they expect it to be
certainly we
finalized.
can have
That's what
status
I
report
want.
in two-
Okay, that's good.
in 2 weeks.
Hans? Okay, Mr. Berger, thank you. I was under the assumption, and if I'm out of line, stop me, Madam City Attorney, that there is a draft pretty well close to being done.
I am informed the draft is being circulated. Whether it's, being done, I'm not sure.
We'll find out the status, we'll get it.
We'll get that.
Very well, very well. Thank you all very much for coming down.
Can we put it on your next agenda?
Next agenda item, Madam Clerk. And I'd like to call on public comment for Joan Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Joan Taylor. Since Ms. Perry was not here when I presented the original proposal to improve the Department of Aging door-to-door transportation program, I brought this resume in. And if you notice, the resume is concluded with a letter from Laura Chick to me praising my work and sending the proposal on to the Department of Aging General Manager Lara Trejo. And I think that's obvious, speaks to the merit of my program. Now, I have asked, and Tom, I would appreciate your attention.
Yes.
Even if you dislike what I am saying and you are not helping with it. The Department of Aging has a door-to-door program, a transportation program. They have 64 drivers, and the city buys 64 vans, and each district has 4 of them. 2 of them are used for the sponsoring tax-exempt agencies, staff errands, or whatever. They have numerous other. The other 2 are supposedly used for senior taxi service, but they only operate in your district, Tom, 10:30 in the morning they finish at 4 in the afternoon. And they only go to the 99-cent store on Tuesday morning. They only go to Ralph's grocery store on Thursday morning. All the rest of the times they have doctor's appointments. But they claim door to door. Now, you know how slow our seniors are, with walkers or without or with wheelchairs. How many seniors can they carry every day in one van? 6? Look at the money you're spending and what little work you're doing. If you would simply...
That's a good point.
If you would let us buy another $84 taxi book, or even 2 of them take the money that you're spending on the drivers and the vans for the senior taxis, give us 2 extra taxi books every quarter. We would have, at the most, $21 a week. We could have 2 $10 taxi
Ms.
books.
Taylor, your time is complete, but
wait,
Ms.
one last
Hahn,
thing.
wait a second there. Ms. Hahn has something she wants to say.
First of all, I think you're absolutely...
I have asked you, I see no transparency. I've asked you for papers and I do not get them.
Okay. First of all, great idea.
I cannot read that.
Oh.
Well, hold on.
It's too bright.
Okay. I do. Oh, now you've got it all messed up. Oh, good.
Janice Hahn, first class all the way.
Great idea. I like this idea, Joan. You've done a lot of, keep reading, you've done a lot of research on this issue, and I've actually had my taxi drivers come to me with this sort of idea, and I've never really followed through on it. I think you make a lot of sense, and in a time when we're trying to cut costs, we'll be giving our taxi drivers more jobs, we'll be being more efficient, and I know our seniors love their taxi drivers. Some of them have great relationships with them. Good idea. I think we should follow up on this, Tom LaBonge.
I'm going to ask you to be the lead on this and ask that Maria Sosa Roundtree from the CLA's office help in this. It's a transportation issue.
All right.
It's great that you embrace this and able to see the light, which I was not seeing.
No, that's okay.
And you know what, Janice,
Yes.
The Angeles Plaza downtown, we have the Hail
Yes.
taxi
May I say,
program.
you cannot reform this program. You cannot make the taxi drivers efficient.
All right.
I thought this was about taxi
You
drivers.
should
I know.
go to this book.
Thank you.
I think the cab drivers downtown would like it.
They would.
Too.
I agree.
And so we could work with Maria to see if there's
Okay.
something we could coordinate, because Hail Cab still needs more activity on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you and I work together on this, Ms.
Yes, that
Perry?
would be
You
lovely.
want me to continue this public comment to the next
Yeah.
meeting?
Sure.
Ms. Taylor, thank you for your public comment today. We will conclude this meeting, but I want to let you know both Ms. Hahn
Continue.
and Ms. Perry will be working on this issue, and at our next meeting, we'll discuss and update it. Last ad, Ms. Taylor.
I would like the financial statements as to how much they spend on your districts, how much the taxi drivers, the two vans that take the seniors' rides, how much do you spend and how many seniors do you take?
Right. You
And
had me at
can't
hello.
possibly compare that cost with commercial cabs.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for your comment. This concludes public comment today at the meeting.
I
thank you. I thank your assistant. Madam Clerk, anything else before us?
That completes all the items.
Okay.
gonna work on it.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.